Hello everyone. It's been a while since I've done it's been a while since I've done videos on this channel vlogging about my religious views. It's also kind of sort of been a while since I've been really active on this channel. I think it started about a month and a half ago, or maybe nearly a couple of months ago, at the beginning of Lent this year. But I've also been sidetracked with a lot of things. I've started, it's like over the past few years, I've been working on an album which I'd been working on for a while. My Detoxifying Masculinity blogspot page. And also I've started doing burlesque. I've been taking burlesque classes and have done a couple of amateur shows. And now then I was actually booked to do a show. There was a producer at one of the amateur shows I did who booked me for a show that ended up getting canceled at the beginning of the quarantine. So this video is being made during the big quarantine of the COVID-19 crisis, the big pandemic, biggest pandemic in 100 years. No, but anyway, this video is a response to Elyse Morgan's recent video she made about a week ago as of the making of this video. Basically about darkness and light. Now, just a little bit of a background. I'm going to give both kind of sort of what happened and also kind of where I came into all of this. Okay, a few years ago, she had been a tarot vlogger known as Wild Moon Woman, and somewhere along the line she basically completely rejected all this tarot related stuff, sold all her decks, and became this converted to Christianity. And for me as a Christian, I kind of would say I don't mind becoming a Christian, but okay, I'll get to that in a little bit. But she basically became sort of this hardcore evangelical Christian, did this big vlog speech announcing how she's kind of renounced that part of her life, and I saw a few different pagan vloggers that I've watched kind of post their video responses. One of the things is she kind of started to talk about like Jesus is the way, the truth, the only way. And kind of, one of the things is a lot of pagans have come from that sort of hardcore conservative fundamentalist background, and they totally, basically for them, paganism and tarot has kind of been a way of escaping that. And so, like, her conversion is, and some of the stuff is deeply triggering for a lot of, And so one of the things overall, it seemed that the typical attitude from a lot of the pagan vloggers was, I'm happy for you, that basically overall many of them were happy for her that she seemed to find a path where she felt that she belonged, but deeply saddened that she's kind of going to be gone. And they're sad about like no longer having her videos and stuff. And so I was quite impressed with most of the pagans basically saying best wishes on your journey to her. Anyway, where I come into the story is at the beginning of Lent this year. I'd possibly seen it while logging into this channel for maybe a second or two, but it kind of went over my head. But at the beginning of Lent, I saw kind of like in the corner, wait, she's converted to evangelical Christianity? What? And I saw responses, and it's like, oh wow, I've been really out of the loop. Wow, this is crazy, and it's just kind of a surprise seeing how out of the loop I had been. But at that time, I had a lot of things I wanted to say. I kind of wanted to do a response video of my own. But one of the things is, for me as a Christian who's also a tarot enthusiast, it's upsetting to see that she felt the need to choose between one or the other. And it's like, there are quite a few videos that talk about like divination versus prophecy, and like kind of a lot of other vlogs talking about like a lot of other tarot Christian vloggers talking about explaining how it's okay. So I'm not going to get into detail about that, of why it's perfectly fine in Christianity for Christians to use tarot. But yeah, where was I? So that was kind of upsetting for me in one area. Another thing is, like, part of it is the people I go to church with, like, that sort of hardcore Jesus is the only way, trying to really sort of anti-gay, discriminatory groups of Christians. The people I go to church with, and most of the Christians, pretty much all the Christian communities I'm part of, find that deeply, deeply antithetical to the Christian faith. For us, it's about love, compassion, and I'll get to that in some of my responses to her latest video. And like, wow, I'm pretty far in this video, and I haven't even gotten to the video I'm talking about. Anyway, the video she posted about a week ago, she basically, she commented that a lot of her followers from when she was a tarot vlogger are still subscribed, and she made a video directed to them, basically going into the Bible to quoting passages of the Bible, to say, this is the true light, this is the true path. And talking about darkness and light, that's a really complex thing, and I think in some ways there's like semantics. Like for me, I see embracing and accepting Jesus' crucifixion as embracing the darkness, because it's like we don't pretend it never happened or call it irrelevant. And we don't reject that for just the resurrection. But anyway, basically, she quoted a lot of passages from the Bible that I've heard weaponized in sort of that, see, our religion is the true way, it's the true path, and I think shortly after I became a Christian, I pretty much almost immediately stopped believing in hell. 1 John, the beginning of chapter 2, the epistle, not the gospel. My dear children, I write to you so that you do not sin. But if anyone does sin, we have an advocate with the Father, Jesus Christ, the righteous one. He is the atoning sacrifice for our sins, but not only for our sins, but for the sins of the whole world. And I've seen John 14:6 weaponized so much. I've seen a lot of the passages she quoted, I've seen weaponized in this way often. And for me, it's like, I think of how in the Gospel of John, it's a lot of Christians in sort of the same area of Christianity that I dwell in most of us absolutely love a lot of the stuff in the Gospel of John, but because it's been used and weaponized to basically discriminate and all of that, it's there's also it's also kind of difficult for us in a way as well. But I'm going to go into the Gospel of John and say, quote Jesus, "By this shall people know that you are my disciples, that you love one another. By this people will know that you are my disciples for your love for one another." One another, and Jesus frequently says, "Love your neighbor as yourself." I think it's in Paul's epistles where, after Jesus says, "Love God with all body, heart, and mind, and love your neighbor as yourself," Paul of Tarsus sums it up as, "Love your neighbor as yourself." And that, and even Jesus, you'll know that people will know that you're my disciples for your love for one another. He doesn't say by your sales pitches, by your quoting things to try to, by your attempts to convert others. He says by your love. And, yeah, one of the things that, all this, that's a big thing for me. Also, sort of an image I have in my head of all these Christians who are like insisting that only those who truly believe in Jesus and are to be saved. I kind of think to the parable of the prodigal son, and also the parable of the parable of I think like the farm owner and the farmers. I'm doing all this by memory. I don't remember verse names and verse chapter and verse numbers. But there's one parable that Jesus gives about like a landowner who hires people, and some people are working all day. Then there's some who start working a lot later, and the owner then pays everyone the exact same amount. And the people who'd been working all day get jealous, and then there's the parable of the prodigal son, like someone who runs away from his father and then eventually comes back, and the father has this huge celebration for his return. But then there's the other brother who's been loyal the whole time saying, "Hey, what about me? I've been here the whole time," and yet he leaves and now he comes back. With sort of these, like when I think about these parables, and my theological ideas are continuously changing, but when I think about these parables and I think of all the people complaining to like the landowner or the father, I see those people as kind of like these hardcore evangelical fundamentalists who are right now preaching that Jesus is the only way and saying, you must come to the light before it's too late. And all those people, kind of when I hear those parables, I kind of imagine like after death in the kingdom of heaven, all those sort of evangelical fundamentalists being sort of the ones, the loyal ones who were there all the time complaining about the ones who are just entering now or who left and have now returned, like as sort of like the non-Christians who are being accepted into the kingdom and their arrivals being celebrated, and the people who were loyal the whole time are just watching. And I can imagine myself and the other Christians on the progressive end going, okay, yeah, they've returned, but now we all get to be happy forever. But yeah, anyway, another thing that I was kind of disappointed with Elyse Morgan's video was a while ago she had made a comment in one of her videos saying that, and I might be repeating myself now, crap, but I guess this is important. It was disappointing where in one of her videos a while ago after she had become a Christian, she talked about how she wasn't going to try to convince anyone any of the tarot people of the faith, how she believed that they would find their way eventually, and now she's kind of gone back on that and is trying to convince people. And it's, yeah, I mean, I, like, with her conversion to Christianity, I deeply empathize with sort of the joy she felt and this happiness. And I definitely have memories of some of these I'm convinced that this is God stuff. And yeah, but yeah, anyway, I'm getting pretty long with this video. Originally, I kind of had this plan to try to keep my videos 10 minutes or less, but I'm getting pretty long with this video. I had a lot to say. But yeah. And oh yeah, I was gonna also say around the end of this video, or somewhere in this video, I'm not sure if I'm gonna do that many more videos. I kind of feel like this might be my last video. I don't know. I think I've kind of been going on a journey with this, and this channel is kind of part of my journey. I'm gonna still be actively using this YouTube channel. I plan on that. More for viewing and maybe commenting. But yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna continue with making videos. I feel like I've served my purpose here. And originally I kind of put together this channel because I didn't really see many individual Christians on the progressive end who had their own channels as individuals, but I'm finding some others. I highly am gonna say go check out God is Gray. She's done quite a few sort of collaborative vlogs with a couple of atheist vloggers. She's also done collaborative vlogs with other Christians that she's had debates against. But yeah, God is Gray I feel is basically served the purpose that I felt that I kind of started my channel to do, and I think she does a much better job than me. And also for me, being the feminist, I want to really try to encourage more women vloggers, and I feel, yeah. And also, there are definitely, I think there are a few others, that I've kind of found and come across. So, yeah, queer Christianity was another. But yeah, seeing more Christian vloggers on the progressive end, I feel like I've kind of served my purpose, and that there are now others who really are, although they started independently of me, they're doing a much better job of what I kind of started this channel to do. I think I have a lot of other work, a lot of other things, contributions that I really feel the need to make, that I think that are part of where I'm called. I feel that this is not necessarily where I'm called, and yeah, but anyway, finally I'm coming to an end. If you're at the end, congratulations, thank you for watching, shalom.